Vancouver rental rates have now fallen for 26 consecutive months, and that single statistic tells you a lot about what is beginning to happen underneath the surface of the housing market, particularly for landlords and investors who rely on rental income to support their properties. According to the most recent rental data, average apartment rents in Vancouver are now roughly $2,630, which represents a 9.2% decline over the past year and a 16.5% decline over the past 3 years, bringing rents back to levels last seen in early 2022. That type of decline does not happen in isolation, and it does not happen without consequences. When rents begin to soften in a market like Vancouver, it begins to change the financial math for thousands of investors, landlords, and prospective buyers who rely on rental income to justify extremely high property prices. What we are beginning to see is the early stage of a broader adjustment in the rental market, and that adjustment has important implications for the entire Vancouver housing ecosystem. In this video, I want to walk through a series of charts and data points that explain what is actually happening beneath the surface of the rental market today. We will talk about construction activity, the massive increase in rental supply that is currently being built across the country, the demographic changes that are beginning to affect renter demand, and why all of these factors are beginning to place downward pressure on rents in major markets like Vancouver. Because when you step back and look at the bigger picture, the softening rental market is not just a temporary fluctuation, it is the result of a supply and demand cycle that has been building for several years and is now beginning to work its way through the housing system. To understand how we arrived at this point, we first need to talk about housing construction and the way housing start data is interpreted. One of the statistics that frequently appears in the media is the number of housing starts across Canada. Recently, Canadian housing starts fell 15.2% month over month in January, dropping to an annualized pace of 238,000 units, down from 280,000 units the month before. At first glance, those numbers might still appear relatively strong. However, there's an important detail in the way housing starts are measured in Canada that changed the interpretation of this data significantly. In Canada, a housing start is not counted when construction begins. Instead, according to the methodology used by CMHC, a project is only counted as a start when the foundation of the building reaches grade. In large multifamily developments, this often occurs 12 to 18 months after construction activity has actually begun, meaning the housing start we see today reflects development decisions that were made well over a year ago. And this is why housing starts are often described as a lagging indicator. The numbers we see reported today do not necessarily reflect current economic conditions or the financing environment that developers are facing right now. Instead, they are capturing projects that were initiated when borrowing costs were lower, when rental demand was stronger, and when investor expectations were significantly different from what they are today. When we look deeper into the composition of the construction pipeline, another important trend emerges. Over the past 2 years, virtually all of the increase in dwellings under construction has come from the rental segment. While construction intended for homeowners included both condominiums and single-family homes, has actually declined. This shift toward rental construction has been enormous. Across Canada, there are currently approximately 193,000 rental units under construction, which represents roughly 8% of the entire existing rental housing supply in the country. This is an unprecedented level of rental development and one that Canadian housing market has never experienced before. And to put that all into perspective, the rental housing stock typically grows at a much slower pace. When you suddenly add a supply pipeline that represents 8% of the entire market, it inevitably changes the balance between supply and demand, and that supply is now beginning to reach completion in many cities. At the same time, that rental supply has been expanding rapidly. The demand side of the rental market has also begun to shift. Over the past several years, Canada experienced a dramatic surge in non-permanent residences. This group includes international students, temporary foreign workers, and other residents who typically rent rather than own housing. Between 2021 and 2024, the number of non-permanent residences in Canada grew by approximately 1.7 million people, and nearly all of them were renters. This surge in renters played a major role in driving rental demand higher during that period. It contributed to extremely tight vacancy rates, rapid rent increases, and an environment where landlords had significant pricing power. In many cases, rents were increasing so quickly that investors were comfortable purchasing properties even if the initial cash flow was negative, because they expected rents to rise substantially in the future. But that dynamic has now begun to change. Federal policy is targeting a reduction in the number of non-permanent residences relative to the total population, with the goal of bringing that share down from roughly 7% to closer to 5% over the coming years. What that means is that the very cohort that drove rental demand growth during the last phase of the housing cycle is now expected to shrink gradually through at least 2027. When a major source of demand begins to decline at the same time that new supply is entering the market, the result is often downward pressure on prices. And that is exactly what we are seeing in rental data today. Across Canada, average asking rents for all property types fell to $2,057 in January, marking a 31-month low and the 16th consecutive month of annual rent declines. However, the most significant declines have been concentrated in the country's largest and most expensive housing markets, including Vancouver. As I mentioned earlier, Vancouver rents have now declined for 26 consecutive months, falling 9.2% over the past year and 16.5% over the past 3 years. This is particularly notable because Vancouver historically has one of the tightest rental markets in the country. The fact that rents are falling in a city with limited land supply and extremely high housing demand suggests that the forces currently affecting the rental market are quite powerful. Another important factor to consider is that the published rent data does not fully capture the incentives that landlords are now offering to attract tenants. In many buildings across the country, landlords are offering free months of rent, move-in bonuses, or other financial incentives that effectively reduce the rent tenants are paying. These incentives are becoming more common as the rental market becomes more competitive. And we can see this shift clearly when we examine data from some of the largest institutional landlords in the country. CapRate, which is one of the largest apartment REITs in Canada, provides a useful example of how rapidly rental market conditions have changed. At the peak of the rental boom in 2023, CapRate was often able to increase rents by as much as 30% when a tenant moved out and a new tenant moved in. This process, known as rent resettling at turnover, allowed landlords to rapidly increase rental income during a period of extremely strong demand. But that environment has shifted dramatically in a relatively short period of time. In the most recent quarter, the average rent increase CapRate achieved when tenants moved out had fallen just to 1.5%, and in some cases, rents were actually declining rather than increasing. In fact, for tenants who had lived in their units for less than 2 years, the change in monthly rent at turnover was a negative 8.3%, meaning that landlords were accepting lower rents simply to keep their buildings occupied. At the same time, occupancy levels at major rental portfolios have begun to decline slightly from their peak levels, while vacancy rates remain relatively low historically. The trend indicates that the rental market is gradually loosening as additional units are completed and enter the market. The shift in the rental market has broader implications beyond the rental sector itself. One of the most important connections is the relationship between rental income and investor activity in the condominium market. In cities like Vancouver, a large portion of condo purchases are made by investors who intend to rent the property. For many of these investors, the rental income is a key part of the financial equation, and rising rents can offset mortgage costs and help justify higher purchase prices. But when rents begin to fall, which they have, while interest rates remain elevated, the financial assumptions behind those investments can begin to change in a big way. For example, if an investor purchased a condo expecting rents to increase steadily over the next several years, a decline in rents can reduce the expected return on that investment. In some cases, investors may find themselves covering larger monthly shortfalls than they originally anticipated. And over time, that type of financial pressure can influence investor behavior. Some investors may decide to hold their properties and absorb the lower rental income, particularly if they believe the market will eventually recover. Others may decide that the investment no longer meets their financial objectives and may choose to sell, which has been contributing to this increase in inventory across Vancouver. And this is one of the ways in which rental market conditions can begin to affect the resale housing market. When rental income expectations change, it can alter the demand for investor-owned properties, particularly smaller condos that are commonly used as rental units. Another important factor to consider is the role of the construction in the broader Canadian economy. Construction represents a significant share of employment in Canada, and the housing sector has been a major driver of job growth over the past decade. However, as the current wave of rental construction projects reaches completion and fewer new projects are initiated, there is a growing concern that construction employment could begin to decline in the coming years. Some analysis expect the job losses in the construction sector could begin to appear around 2026 once the pipeline of rental projects begins to slow. If construction employment begins to weaken, it could introduce additional economic pressure that may indirectly affect housing demand in some regions. When we step back and look at the entire picture, the current rental market adjustment begins to make sense. The market experienced an extraordinary surge in rental demand driven by rapid population growth and a sharp increase in non-permanent residents. In response to that demand, developers initiated a massive wave of rental construction projects across the country. Now those projects are beginning to reach completion, and at the same time that renter demand growth is slowing. This combination of increasing supply and moderating demand is placing downward pressure on rents across multiple markets, including here in Vancouver. Based on the current supply pipeline and demographic trends, many analysts believe that it may take at least another 18 months before the rental market fully stabilizes. For existing landlords, this environment emphasizes the importance of focusing on tenant retention and stable cash flow. In a softer rental market, keeping a reliable tenant in place may be more valuable than attempting to maximize rent increases. I know for myself, over the last couple of years, I have not touched the rents on my rentals because I am just wanting to keep my tenants in place. For prospective investors considering entering the rental market, the current environment highlights the importance of running a conservative of financial projections. Relying on aggressive rent growth assumptions may no longer be a reliable strategy in the near term. And for the broader Vancouver real estate market, the rental sector will continue to play an important role in shaping housing demand and pricing dynamics over the next several years. Understanding these underlying trends helps explain why certain properties may be struggling to achieve previous valuations and why the market environment today feels very different from the conditions that existed only a few years ago.